You are sitting at the kitchen table. The light is that specific color of a late afternoon in your childhood home. Across from you, your parents are telling you the truth, the real, unbreakable truth about money. Work hard, go to college, get a good job, buy a house, retire. It was the background music of your parents' lives, the plan, the promise, the thing they repeated so often it became less like advice and more like gravity, something you could always count on. You grew up watching them follow it, or at least watching them believe in it. And now you're standing here, maybe in your 20s, maybe your 30s, trying to figure out why the ground feels so different under your feet, why the map they gave you doesn't lead to the same place it led them. So, what if you tried it anyway? What if you did exactly what they said? What if you built your life the way your parents told you to? Let's find out. First, you have to understand where they were standing when they gave you that map. Imagine you're born in 1960. You turn 18 in 1978. The world you walk into is not the one you know. You go to college, a good school. It costs you, in today's money, about $20,000 a year. The total for 4 years? Maybe $80,000. It's not nothing, but it's a number you can hold in your head. You graduate. You get a job. Not your dream job, but a job. And it comes with something that seems completely obvious at the time. A pension. A promise that if you stay for 30 years, they'll take care of you. A check every month until you die. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to manage it. It's just there. After a few years, you start looking at houses. You're maybe 26. You find a nice 3-bedroom. It costs about $60,000. In today's dollars, roughly $230,000. Your salary is $15,000. The math is simple. You save for a couple of years, you buy the house. It feels like the natural order of things. You don't feel lucky, you just feel normal. You are following the plan, and the plan is working. You spend the next 20 years watching the value of that house climb. You don't have to be a genius. You don't have to be aggressive. You just have to exist. And then one day you look up and you realize something you never had to think about. The conditions that built your life, they've started to disappear before you even had the chance to ask your first question about them. But you're not your parents. You're you, and you're going to try it their way. So you pick a school, the same kind of good university they went to. But now the price tag isn't $20,000 a year. It's $270,000 for the 4 years. You don't have $270,000. So you take out loans. You tell yourself it's an investment. That's what you were told. You graduate. You find a job. You start paying those loans back. It's not a small piece of your paycheck. It's a huge piece. But okay, you're doing it. Now, about that pension, it's not there. Instead, you have a 401k, a digital account with a number in it, a number you are now solely responsible for. You have to choose the funds. You have to decide how much to put in. You have to hope the market doesn't do something strange the year you turn 65. It's not a promise, it's a guess. You're 26 now, the same age they were when they bought their first house. You go to look at one, a 3-bedroom, not a mansion, just a normal house. It costs $450,000. You do the math. The rule of thumb says don't spend more than 30% of your income on housing. You work out what you'd need to earn. The number you land on is around $140,000 a year. You look at your salary, the one you got after your $270,000 degree, it's about $70,000. You can't afford the house, not the one you thought you'd be in by now. So you save. But with the student loans, with the rent, with the cost of just being alive, the time it would take to reach a 20% down payment stretches out in front of you. 5 years, 10 years, maybe more. And here's the quiet cruelty of it. While you're saving, the price keeps climbing. Every year you wait, the door moves another inch further away. You look at the map in your hands. You're doing exactly what it says. You went to college, you got a job, you're saving for a house. But the map doesn't seem to lead anywhere anymore. It just loops back on itself. Here's where it gets quiet. The gap between what you were promised and what you can touch, it wasn't created overnight. It was built, decade by decade, while you were learning to tie your shoes. Back in 1975, a new house cost about 2.5 times the average annual income. A stretch, but a stretch you could reach. By 1985, home prices had surged over 100%. By 1995, another 59%. By 2005, another 75%. The entry fee kept rising. Your income didn't follow. And by the time you showed up to the game, the first-time buyer age had quietly climbed from 28 to 40. Think about what that means for your life. By the time the math allows you to buy the house your parents bought at 26, you'll be closer to retirement than to the graduation ceremony that started all of this. While that was happening, the other promise, the one about retirement, was being quietly dismantled. In 1980, 64% of employer retirement contributions went into pensions you didn't have to think about. By the time you entered the workforce, the responsibility had flipped entirely. You aren't just working for a paycheck anymore. You are your own pension fund manager. You are your own safety net. Every market crash, every recession, every economic shock that your parents' pension absorbed automatically, you absorb personally now. And then there's the weight of the numbers themselves. The generation that drew the map, that held the plan, that believed in the path, they now hold over $82 trillion in net worth. Your generation holds about $16 trillion, and there are more of you. Every home they bought at $60,000, you now pay rent on at $2,500 a month. A survey asks people your age if they feel financially behind where they should be. 8 out of 10 say yes. Not because you did something wrong, but because the economic tide that lifted their boat receded before you ever got to the water. So here is the turn. The old advice wasn't wrong, it was contextual. It worked in the world it was built for. But the world changed. And somewhere between accepting that truth and sitting with the weight of it, something shifts. You stop asking what's wrong with you. You start asking what's true about the terrain you're actually standing on. And once you see the terrain clearly, you stop waiting for one job to be enough. You build a second income alongside the first. Not as a passion project, but as architecture. Because one income stream in this economy is structurally the same as one leg on a chair. The side project, the freelance work, the digital skill you've been building, that's not a grind, that's your safety net, built by you, for you. You stop competing for the median house in the median city. You look at the markets your parents never had to consider. Smaller cities, a duplex where the other unit covers half the mortgage. Entry points that are less symbolic and far more achievable. You use them to start building equity instead of waiting for the perfect moment that never arrives. You look at the 401k not as a passive promise, but as a tool you actually control. You start at 22, not 32, with whatever you have. Because you understand something your parents never had to calculate. The 5 years between 22 and 27 are worth more in compounding terms than the 10 years between 35 and 45. Time is the only asset in this entire story that costs nothing to use. And every year you wait, you spend it. You are not following the old map anymore. You are navigating a landscape that shifts under your feet. And the only way to move forward is to stop looking for the road that was paved for someone else. You're sitting at a table, your parents' kitchen table. The same table where you first heard the plan. They are proud of you. They should be. You got the degree, you got the job, you're doing everything right. And you're looking at them, and you're looking at yourself, and you realize something you can't say out loud. You were playing the same game, but on a different field, with a different ball. And the scoreboard from their game doesn't apply to yours. They talk about the house they bought at $60,000, the pension they don't have to think about. And you smile and you nod because you know they're not trying to make you feel small. They're just describing a world that existed, a world you never got to live in. You leave the table. You walk outside. The air is cool. You know the map they gave you is gone. But you also know something they never had to know. You know how to move when the ground shifts. You know how to look at a system that wasn't built for you and find the seams in it. You won't be 26 with a house and a pension. That dream sailed before you were born. But you will be something else, something they couldn't have been. You will be the person who looked at a broken promise and didn't break with it.